Lego has to be up there as one of Denmark's greatest ever exports. Well, along with Christian Eriksen anyway. I remain a collector of Lego to this day and am what's affectionately known as an AFOL, an adult fan of Lego. It's a real term, honest, look it up. The Lego games have become a staple of the video game scene ever since their popularity skyrocketed after the release of Lego Star Wars, and have continued to gain popularity ever since. The Nintendo Switch has already had a fair few Lego games released on it, ranging from ports of Lego City Undercover and Lego Harry Potter to newer games such as The Incredibles and the subject of today's review, the Lego Movie 2. So, is everything awesome? I'm Glenn for Switchup. Many thanks to Warner Brothers, who sent a free physical copy of this game for us to review, and now, let's find out. The Lego Movie 2 story follows that of the movie that it's based on, as you would expect, and includes popular characters from the movie such as Emmet, Lucy, Benny the Spaceman, Batman and Unikitty, to name but a few. Some of the story is told via narration from Lucy, whereas at other times voiced cutscenes will play. You start in the small town of Bricksburg and will soon unlock the main hub world of the Wastelands. From here you can choose to advance the story by following the yellow star markers on screen, or you can explore the environment to look for hidden items such as relics, more on those later, or partake in some side quests. These are shown by these white question marks. Whereas older Lego games used a hub world but would have had you enter separate enclosed levels from here, the Lego Movie 2 feels like more of an open world or sandbox game, in that story missions are short and frequent, with the occasional set piece such as a boss battle, but they are not their own separate levels as was the case in the past. I have not played the recent Incredibles or DC Villains Lego games, so this may not be the first game to incorporate this new style, but it's my first encounter of it at least. Side missions are a mixture of short fetch quests, having you defeat a set number of enemies in order to protect a civilian, or beginning to rebuild the land. Completing these will net you rewards or possibly even masterpieces, which are your gold bricks of old, and I'll cover those in more detail in a moment. Combat is still as basic as it's always been in Lego games, with it largely boiling down to vaguely aiming your character in the right direction and furiously tapping the button. But there is a new build attack, which is performed by holding down the attack button and then following some basic on-screen prompts. Early on you will unlock your builder page. Once you have this, you are able to accept builds from characters that you will find strewn across the game world. In order to get their build, you must first assist them with a quick mission. These builds will be essential in helping you make progress in the game, and early examples include Lucy's bouncer, which will aid you in reaching higher ledges, or Benny's generator, which will power motors and open up locked doors. To use a build, you must find a corresponding build pad, and these are colour coded initially to aid you in knowing which build to use, but later on in the game you will have to figure this out for yourself. You will also need enough bricks in order to make a build. Bricks are acquired every time you destroy an item in the game world, and there is a counter at the side as to how many of each colour brick you currently have. As well as obtaining bricks by smashing items, you will also collect studs. Now, studs have been a staple of the Lego games for a long time now, and that noise they make when you collect them is still just as satisfying to this day. As you progress, you will also gain a super builder page, and this will enable you to construct large buildings on each world that you visit, and doing so will give you access to a shop. From here you can open any of the relics that you have found, and inside these you will find characters, items and customizable parts that you can then use in the game. You can also use your studs to purchase large buildings that you can then build around the game world. Most of this is fairly superfluous and is purely for cosmetic reasons, but it adds a great deal of longevity to the game due to its collectathon nature, and, try as you might, you sometimes just cannot resist delaying that next story mission so that you can put a quiver and a set of orc hands onto the crayon lady in order to create a Frankenstein's monster for you to use. The Lego Movie 2 also incorporates the scan feature seen in the Lego Worlds game. You will be given a set of scanner binoculars early on, and whilst having these equipped, any item with a green glow can be scanned and added to your inventory. This can all then be used in your quest to rebuild each galaxy and set up your own settlements, along with the large buildings mentioned earlier. I can see some people getting well and truly sucked into this part of the game and almost forgetting about the story, particularly if you enjoyed LEGO Worlds. In order to truly advance the story, you will need to collect the aforementioned masterpieces. As stated earlier, these are gained by completing quests or can just be found around the environment, and collecting a set amount of these on each planet is the only way that you can build a portal to move on to the next one. There are 475 masterpieces to be found in total, spread across all of the available galaxies, and finding them all will be where a lot of your time will be spent should you wish to 100% the game. Of course, there is also the option to play in 2-player local co-op should you wish, and I've always found LEGO games to be perfect co-op games to play with less experienced gamers. I usually play these with my wife, and once we have finished the story mode together, she will then play them for hours by herself to 100% the rest of the game. The LEGO Movie 2's gameplay seems to fuse the open world nature of the LEGO World game with the more traditional, story-driven LEGO games to create a hybrid of sorts. It's nice to see the series taking steps into something a little different and introducing newer gameplay mechanics while still retaining the accessibility and compulsive collecting that has seen the franchise thrive over the last decade or so. The quests do become a little repetitive at times, but the hook of seeing the world rebuilt is a nice incentive, and gameplay gets 14 out of 20. Controls for the LEGO Movie 2 are very straightforward. Movement is handled with the left stick, whereas jumping is assigned to the B button, and attacking your enemies is assigned to Y. You can access your items or the builder pages by scrolling with the L and R buttons, and then use A to confirm your choice. Pressing X will bring up your build menu. The right stick controls your camera, and this is easy to control and works with you rather than against you. Placing objects when using the builder or super builder pages can be a little finicky, and this is the major complaint that I would have against the controls, but on the whole they work very well, and they receive 16 out of 20. The LEGO Movie 2 captures the look and feel of its movie counterpart very well. Settings are varied from the sandy and desolate Mad Max-esque Apocalypseburg to the once green and beautiful Sispocalypse star, to the eerie solitude of the asteroid field. Whereas older LEGO games looked like a game world with LEGO characters and items within it, these newer ones genuinely look like a LEGO built world. You could almost count the individual bricks of each building and landscape, and for a LEGO fan such as myself, this really is a joy to see. I've been told that the game is capped at 30 frames per second, and save for some slowdown when building larger models, performance on the whole was never really an issue during my playthrough, whether playing in docked or handheld mode. There are some fairly lengthy loading times when travelling from one planet to another though, and this is unfortunate. There is also a colourblind mode within the options screen, which is always a nice touch. In terms of the audio, you are greeted to a rendition of Everything is Awesome when you first boot the game up, and the music is appropriate for each of the different settings, as you would have already heard. The game is voice acted, with Emmet's voice being provided by AJ Locascio. I think I've pronounced that right. He played Emmet in the Legoland exclusive 4D experience, The LEGO Movie A New Adventure. Visuals receive 14 out of 20, whilst audio also receives 14 out of 20. The LEGO Movie 2 costs £34.99, €39.99 or $39.99. For the money you are paying, you are getting a fair-sized adventure, but it's the completionists amongst us that will really be getting their value for money. 100% in the game will add a sizable amount of hours to the time you spend with this one. Plus, there is the fun factor of the co-op mode. My issue is the eShop prices are grossly higher than you would pay buying this game physically. Already this game is £10 cheaper in stores than it is on the eShop, and I would highly recommend picking it up physically if you are interested. Based on the eShop price, value gets 13 out of 20. To conclude, the LEGO Movie 2 is another fun entry into the ever-growing franchise. Whilst the change to a more sandbox gameplay style may disappoint those who favoured the levels of old, and it could be argued that it also opens the game up to many short but repetitive missions, it is also very hard to argue against just how compelling it is to just do one more quick mission to unlock another masterpiece, or build a few more houses to regrow another planet. The amount of time and level of fun you have with LEGO games will always come down to how much of a completionist you are, but whether you play alone or with a partner, there's still a lot of fun to be had here. The LEGO Movie 2 gets a Switchup score of 71%. Thank you everybody as always for watching. We hope you enjoyed this review. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. Will you be picking this one up? What's your favourite LEGO game on the Switch, or indeed of all time? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you to all of our patrons as always for your support, and thank you to each and every one of you for watching our videos. And until the next one, happy gaming.